What is up, guys? So today we are doing a hero review and power ranking for Deadpool. After playing as many games with him as I could and trying him outside of the pool aspect, I feel I have a pretty good grasp of his kit and how he works. So let's dive into it. So I separated his cards into 4 sections right here. We have cards that do damage to Deadpool. These are cards that have synergy with acceleration tokens. These are cards that have a synergy with his recovery stat, and these are Deadpool's massive damage dealing cards. So the first noteworthy thing to take a look at is his hero ability, the Regenerating Degenerate. Force Interrupt. When you would be defeated, instead set your hit point down to 1, change the alter ego form, then add 1 permanent acceleration token to the main scheme. So this is super duper good because it basically means that Deadpool can never die in hero form, just like in the movies and in the comics. The first thing that I thought about when I saw this is his massive potential to build. When I'm playing Marvel Champions, I prefer to set up my board while managing threat and making sure that my hero doesn't die. Well, Deadpool will not have any problem managing his death because he can never die. However, we don't want to fall in the trap of constantly triggering the Regenerating Degenerate because it will add a permanent acceleration token to the main scheme, which will make threat hard to manage, and it can be very volatile in multiplayer. A lot of Deadpool's cards are actively trying to kill him. Let's take a look at them right here. So this would be his main attack card, Maximum Effort. Hero Action Attack. Take any amount of damage up to your remaining hit points and deal an equal amount of damage to an enemy. So in order to do damage with it, take damage back. This can be good at times and it can be bad at times. Next, let's take a look at Deadpool's only thwarting card, Yoo-Hoo. Hero Action Thwart. Take any amount of damage up to your remaining hit points and remove an equal amount of threat from the scheme. So it's the same thing as a maximum effort, but now we can remove threat. This can also be good, or it could also be bad, because we have to take damage to get a lot of its effect. Next, we have a really good card right here, Deadpool's Katana. This is an upgrade. Hero Action, exhaust Deadpool's Katana and take 1 damage, deal 2 damage to the enemy, and this attack gains piercing. So this is a really strong card because you can use it all the time, but we do have to take a damage in order to trigger it. And then lastly, we have Meta Knowledge, which is an amazing encounter card cancel. Hero Interrupt, when an encounter card is reviewed, cancel all of its effects and it's carded. Then take 1 damage for each icon in that card's boost area. This can cancel everything and anything that will help you save the game, but you have to take that back as damage. So Deadpool's cards are constantly trying to make him die and trigger the Regenerating Degenerate. And that will add a permanent acceleration token, but he does have cards that synergize really well with acceleration tokens. So let's take a look at them right here. First, we have Cable, Deadpool's signature ally. This is a 3-cost ally, 1 thwart, 2 attack, and 3 hit points. That's already a pretty good stat line, and Cable is already pretty good with just that, but he gets +1 thwart and +1 attack for each acceleration token on the main scheme, up to a max of 3. So if you have at least 1 acceleration token, he's already going to be a 2 thwart, 3 attack ally, which is really strong. And then if you're maxed out, like you have 3 or more acceleration tokens on the main scheme, then he's a 4 thwart, 5-cost ally. Next, we have Exhausting Personality. Hero Action Choose. Place 1 acceleration token on the main scheme, stun and confuse a villain, or we can choose to exhaust a player's identity. That player draws 1 card for each acceleration token on the main scheme. So I'll almost never use the first effect because I don't feel like the stun and confuse is going to be worth it for Deadpool, because we don't need to stun a villain because we can never die, so they can just attack us. And then for the confuse, we usually don't end the turn in alter ego form. We're usually flipping over to alter ego form because of the Regenerating Degenerate, and we can flip back over to hero form to end the turn, so the villain won't scheme. But that second effect, where we can exhaust a player's identity and then draw 1 card for each acceleration token in the main scheme, can be so powerful, especially late game, if you have like 4 or 5 acceleration tokens because you're drawing 4 or 5 cards. Next, we have It Ain't Over. Attached to the main scheme, increase the target threat value of the main scheme by 2 for each acceleration token on it. This will give you so much more breathing room when you're playing Deadpool, and it's pretty much his version of Under Surveillance. Next, we have Montage right here. This card generates 1 additional WA resource for each acceleration token on the main scheme, up to a max of 3. So this can potentially be a quadra resource if you have 3 or more acceleration tokens on the main scheme. This can help you pay for anything that you need, like an expensive ally, you can pay for Cable, or even your symbiote suit. Next, let's take a look at my favorite part about Deadpool's kit, and that is his massive recovery stat of 8. This is the most recovery that any hero has in Marvel Champions. And if we take a look at his hit points, his max hit points is 9. That means that if we don't manufacture hit points and increase it with cards like Endurance or the symbiote suit, 1 recovery will bring you back to full. And this has so much synergy with these cards right here. So first, let's take a look at self-preservation, self-confidence, and self-control. Double the number of resources this card generates if your identity has sustained less than 5 damage, and triple the resource instead if you have sustained no damage. That means if you just recover once, you're automatically back at full hit points, and these are effectively triple resources, which is so powerful and adds so much economy for Deadpool. And we also have his Chimichanga Truck. Response: after an identity makes a base recovery, exhaust the Chimichanga Truck and ready that identity. That works so well because he pretty much gets a free recovery after being forced to flip over with the Regenerate Degenerate, and then he has the triple resources, and he is back readied up again. Lastly, let's take a look at Deadpool's massive damage dealing cards. We already went over maximum effort, so let's take a look at this card's fire. Hero action: deal X damage to an enemy. X is the amount of damage you have sustained. So if you're at 1 hit point and your max hit point is 9, this is a 3 for 8. However, if you increase your max hit points with a symbiote suit or endurance, this could possibly be up to like 20 damage. And then Deadpool, or Wade Wilson right here, his Alter Ego, has an action: break the fourth wall. Discard a card from your hand, search your deck for a Deadpool event, and add to your hand. This is so good for helping you tutor maximum effort and this card's fire, especially when you need it late game. I do want to make a little tangent right here for the force response of this card's fire. After your turn ends, if this card's in your hand, take 1 damage. So I initially played this card wrong. So your turn ending is different than the player phase ending. Because whenever your turn ends, every other player in multiplayer would go. So you only take the 1 damage if you're holding this card in your hand after your turn ends, not when you draw into it at the end of the player phase. And I do want to make a distinction between Deadpool's cards and the pool aspect cards here. So pool aspect cards have synergy with these icons, with Amplify icon, Acceleration icon, Hazard icons, and Crisis icons. This Acceleration icon is different than an Acceleration token. So for example, Cable will not get any stat bonuses from Kidpool right here having an Acceleration icon. So whenever you're playing Deadpool, we don't have to play into the icons, we can just play into the Acceleration tokens, which is what I prefer to do when I'm playing him. So before I say my ranking of Deadpool, I do want to preface this with a disclaimer. This is 100% my opinion and not a definitive fact. My criteria of what makes a hero strong is if the hero is given the best piloting and the best deck. How consistent can we win against every scenario? I've heard criteria where a hero must be easy to play. I don't agree with that because being hard to play should not count against a hero's power. I've also heard arguments about a hero must be good in every aspect. And I don't think that should count against them either because I only care about a hero at their very best, at their peak. I don't want to compare a hero using a bad deck to another hero using a bad deck. With that being said, Deadpool right here is A tier. He has a very high ceiling, and if you have a perfect balance of resources and strong cards in hand, then he can feel S tier and like the most powerful hero in the game. But when you have a hand full of resources or with 0 resources, he can feel B tier or even below. Because there is such a low floor, Deadpool is wildly inconsistent, and to beat S tier, a hero should be able to beat Expert Ronin and Venom Goblin at least 75% of the time. Deadpool in Rush and in Build cannot do that. So there you have it. Even though I don't think he's S tier, he's super fun and probably my second favorite hero in the game after Spider-Man. If you guys disagree with my ranking, please let me know in the comments below. Deadpool just came out 1 week ago, so he may still have a lot of potential in combos that I don't know about, and his ranking may change.